Hi, I'm Tom Campbell from Cultaholic.com alongside Adam. Adam! Where's everybody? Oh yeah, I forgot. I'm in isolation. So this is good. Thank you for continuing to support what we do at Cultaholic during very strange times. It wasn't how I was expecting to deliver the news to you a week ago, but here we are. Here's some headlines. Which WWE superstar is done being a full-time wrestler? There were huge AEW Dynamite debuts last night. And which New Japan star would CM Punk love to face? Find out in a bit. So it feels like we've only had him back for about 10 minutes, and Daniel Bryan could be wrapping up his time in the WWE. He was speaking on the Bellas podcast just the other day about his plans going forward. He says, with regards to paternity leave, which obviously is coming up since he's about to be a dad, he says it's a little stressful because the date that you're due and all of that stuff, chatting to Brie regarding the child arriving. But the WWE has been great. They're going to give me 6 weeks paternity leave, which so few places in the United States do. So I'll get to be home for the first 6 weeks. He then goes on to say, after that, it's not long until my contract is up. We've been talking about what we do from there. To me, in my mind, it's almost like I think I'm just done being a full-time wrestler. I love being a dad. I will always love wrestling, and I always want to do wrestling. But when I say always do wrestling, that means maybe a month or once every couple of months. And that could be the end of Daniel Bryan. Gosh. I don't feel like we've had enough of him back yet. Like, Daniel Bryan's been doing such amazing work on SmackDown ever since he came back full time, and not just like, I'm talking about like the big WrestleMania return and all the stuff he did as a heel champion. Oh gosh, they never mass produced that biologically friendly championship belt, and that breaks my heart. I'm very surprised as well. But not just that, but the stuff that he's been doing as of late, where he's been working with guys like Heath Slater and Drew Gulak to bring them along as well. I'm intrigued to see what role Daniel Bryan will play at this sort of moving beast that is WrestleMania 36, if he does indeed play a role at all. But then from there, it's time to start getting in those dream matches for Daniel Bryan, because there's not a massive amount of time left to do them. So I tell you what, stick in the comments below who you think Daniel Bryan could be facing in dream wrestling matches before he finally hangs up the boots. Oh. Daniel Bryan knocking it on the head. With everything else going on at the moment, we don't need any more sad news. So let's talk about last night's AEW Dynamite. Now, I'm the NXT guy for Cultaholic, but I genuinely think that AEW nailed this empty arena malarkey a lot quicker than WWE did. I was hoping to bring you NXT graded today, but there is no NXT graded because there is nothing to grade from last night's show. It was just a series of well put together video packages and Triple H emasculating Tom Phillips. It's not a whole lot to talk about there. Let's just say we give it an ungraded. You're very welcome. But there was lots going on AEW Dynamite last night. A cold open with Cody, which was just beautiful. But the big talking point, 2 huge debuts for All Elite Wrestling. We had the identity of the Exalted One revealed, and after all this time expecting Matt Hardy to bring his broken brilliance to the role, it actually turns out to be the artist formerly known as Harper Brodie Lee. Even in the video where they revealed that it was Brodie Lee, like to the final seconds of the reveal, they teased it was Matt Hardy. Like, he was even wearing like a Matt Hardy, broken Matt Hardy-esque jacket. And it was only when the hood came off, when you realised that voice doesn't sound too Carolinian, there was Brodie Lee. I loved the reveal of this, and Brodie Lee then attacks Christopher Daniels, and off to the races we go. We are now going to see Brodie Lee really make a name for himself in AEW. I loved his work in WWE when he got a chance to do stuff, but a lot of people don't realise, and a lot of casual WWE fans don't realise, that Brodie Lee's an amazing talker. Like, he's got an incredible promo power to him that wasn't utilised while he was in WWE. And we're going to not just hear that, but we're going to watch him wrestle 9 to the dozen as well. Oh, this is a really cool reveal. Wasn't the reveal that we were all expecting. We all thought this was going to be the time of Matt Hardy. So as the show wears on, kind of feel a little bit sad, because it's like, oh, well, kind of ready for Matt Hardy to come in. Then we get to the final segment of the night with the Inner Circle running down the Elite in the ring. Here comes Vanguard 1, and there on the balcony, high above the empty arena, is Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy revealed as the final team member of the Elite for the Blood and Guts match. Wow, what a reveal for Matt Hardy, in such weird circumstances all the same, but really felt special to have Matt Hardy now as part of AEW. This was a really good episode of Dynamite, to be perfectly honest, but hey, it's not my place to talk about Dynamite. I'm going to leave that to my boy Jack the Jobber. He'll be along later on with AEW Graded. He's going to go through everything that happened on Dynamite last night. And Ross Tweddle will be along later on with WTF moments, AEW TF moments rather, from last night's Dynamite. If you've been a fan of Cultaholic for several years, you will remember that what we're doing right now with Cultaholic is very similar to how we started. So I, for one, am crossing all fingers that later on today on Cultaholic, we're going to see Ross in the middle of a forest getting shouted at by an old man whilst doing WTF moments. Crossing all things. So as well as Blood and Guts, we have 2 more matches for next episode of Dynamite. You notice I didn't say next week's episode of Dynamite. So we'll get to that in a little bit. Luchasaurus is going to take on Wardlow in a lumberjack match. It was all started on Dynamite last night with MJF just being a bit of a dick towards the Jurassic Express. That's all the impetus we need to have a lumberjack match. I'm intrigued as to how this will work. Because, you know, we're now working on empty arenas with restricted access. Like, is this going to be where we see, like, camera crew and technical operators acting as lumberjacks? Get JR a lumberjack flannel. Make that a thing. Also, next week, we've got Best Friends taking on the Lucha Brothers in a parking lot brawl. They had a great match on Dynamite last night, and the rivalry continues next week. And top marks to AEW for booking a match that essentially doesn't need a venue. In the event that things go a little bit wrong, they are sorted because they could just hold it in our parking lot. The verbiage on Dynamite last night was quite interesting. They weren't saying next week on Dynamite, they were simply saying on the next Dynamite. There is a reason for that, as reported by PW Insider, who say the decision was made to list everything for the next Dynamite instead of next week, because the company, from owner Tony Khan on down, is taking a stance that no one should be taking anything for granted during these tumultuous times. And they did not want to come across as if anything was guaranteed. The team wanted to get through tonight's episode, and as one source stated after the show, not be so arrogant as to assume they'll be 100% allowed back on live TV next week, since things are changing so rapidly. And that's a good call to make. It is a weird time for wrestling, and I'm hoping that we get to a point where next week we can get something that vaguely resembles the show that they've got planned. I mean, it's gutting that Dynamite had this great show last night with 2 huge debuts and there was no live crowd to soak it up, but the show must go on, and hopefully we will have a show going on next week. As I say, Jack's here later on to talk about all things AEW Dynamite in a brand new episode of Graded. And finally, here's something that feels a little bit more normal. How about we talk about CM Punk returning to the ring? That feels good. That feels like the good old days where crowds would watch wrestling matches. Feels all warm, all warm in my baby box. CM Punk was on the Swings and Misses show, and he was asked about some potential dream matches that he would like to have should he get back in the ring. And he threw out a few names in there, a lot of WWE names mainly, Daniel Bryan for one. I feel like we've been tantalized with CM Punk and Daniel Bryan. I feel like it could be a thing. He's also said that he wants to face John Cena once again as well. They had some belters in the past. He threw out a few other names in there, all WWE guys, with the exception of one, which was Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay, British wrestling star, absolute force of nature in the ring, reigning IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion. This guy is a machine. So CM Punk obviously has eyes on working with somebody as talented as Will Ospreay because he's just a sensible human being. So none of the wrestlers involved responded to this call out by CM Punk, except for our boy Will Ospreay, who tweeted the following. Just an idea, and because we could all use something to focus on to get us through these hard times right now, save January the 4th and get some reps in. Help the business move forward instead of being a spoke on a wheel. This might be clickbait, but a great white just bit. CM Punk versus Will Ospreay. Shoot that straight into my veins. I love that. I like the fact that CM Punk is throughout the name Will Ospreay. It's great to see so many people. I mean, obviously Will Ospreay has had some social media dalliances with WWE guys in the past. Of course, previous months we've talked about him and Seth Rollins going back and forth. That was a messy affair. But hey, an actual in-ring bit between CM Punk and Will Ospreay, it's very pie in the sky, I know. While CM Punk isn't a WWE employee, he's an employee of Fox, so he could, in theory, kind of go and do what he wants to do, yada, 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 yada. But he like, CM Punk would not turn up at Dynamite or in Japan and fight Ospreay. I say that wouldn't happen, but we're about to have WrestleMania from the Performance Center, so anything is possible at this point. Oh, jeez. Hey, if you, like me, are missing Adam Pacitti, because it's normally nice to turn to him and make some wry gags. Like, these videos don't feel the same without me making my boss cringe his toes backwards. If you are missing Adam Pacitti, he's live streaming on the Cultaholic YouTube channel every night at 8 British Standard Time. He's playing some wrestling games. He was playing 5-star wrestling last night. That was good fun. He's got some other games planned, and he's talked about other stuff that he wants to do. I saw a tweet that suggested he might try and give Mr. Happy a bath. That will end terribly, and I genuinely hope that he doesn't. But if you are, like many of us, including myself, confined to the walls of your home, and you need some entertainment, not only will we still be here producing videos and podcasts, but Adam will be live every night doing something silly. So that'll be good, won't it? Have yourself a great Thursday. Stay safe. Love you, bye.